Hello, and I am your host, Ariel Epstein. We're here on Sports Take. I'm here with Connor DeKranis and Darius Donaldson. We have a lot to talk about this week, guys. You ready?
Absolutely.
Darius, you ready? All right, we're having a little trouble on his mic right now. All right, you here? You good, Darius? All right.
All right, let's just get rolling.
So we're going to start off with the MLB because we're in the playoffs right now, and it's pretty important. Let's get it going with the Cards beating the Pirates in St. Louis, Game 5. They killed them 6-1. Wainwright pitched a full game. He pitched a full game, only gave up 1 run. He's 2-0 in the playoffs. What do you think about this game?
Talking about the Cardinals right now?
Yep.
I mean, the Cards look really good right now. They're gonna get home field advantage throughout the rest. I think they're gonna go all the way. They're gonna go to the World Series.
Wow. Darius, you hear that? Oh.
He's getting his mic situation fixed right now.
Got it. I think they have a lot of talent on their team. David Freese and Matt Adams with 2-run homers had a lot to contribute to that game. Oh, Darius, you're
all right,
here.
Darius is here.
You ready, Darius? He's getting ready right now. A little bit of a technical problem.
A little bit of a mic issue, guys. Hold on.
Are we good?
Yeah, you're good. Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to see you, Darius.
Well, yeah, nice to see you guys, too. It's been a while.
We're talking about the Cards beating the Pirates in St. Louis. What do you think?
It's sad. It's a sad thing, but I'm really proud of the Pirates this year.
The saddest thing for the Pirates, too, is the fact that they had the series lead. That's always heartbreaking in baseball, but That's what's so great about the sport, too. And the Pirates have a lot to look forward for. A lot of young talent. They're going to go a long way these next couple of years.
Yeah, they shouldn't be disappointed.
Oh yeah, we're very optimistic over in Pittsburgh.
You should be. You have a lot of reason to be, Darius.
Oh yeah, we're happy about it.
And before we leave the ALDS, let's go to tonight's game. Tigers versus Athletics in Oakland, starting at 8:07, starting right now. You have one of the best pitchers in baseball, Justin Verlander. It wasn't so hot this year, but he has the talent in him to have a great game versus Sonny Gray, who's going to the championship against the Red Sox.
I believe in Sonny tonight. I mean, the kid's showing a lot right now. He had that big Game 2 win, and that's why they decided to start him instead of Bartolo Colon tonight. And that shows a lot when you have that kind of confidence in one of your young starters. So I'm going to have to go with the Athletics.
Really? Okay. I'm going with the Tigers. I like the Tigers. I believe they're playing well. And I think overall, it's just going to be a bit much for the A's to handle.
I mean, it's a complete toss-up right now. Game 5s always are. It's tough. It's tough to call.
Yeah.
I think if Verlander has the game that he could have, and if he shows all of his talent, Detroit will definitely win. But if Verlander continues to have the year he's had all year, then Oakland might eat him up on the field.
But what happens if Sonny Gray comes out and it becomes a pitching duel? You know, Miggy's not playing too well. He's had like 2 extra base hits since like August.
I understand what you're talking about with players having a little bit of a slump, but you have to look at the player that they were and that they were even this season. And Verlander has had amazing years in the past, and that is why he is who he is.
And also he's a competitor. He's always shown in the playoffs. He's always had great playoff runs with the Tigers. So.
And that's what I'm saying. Playoffs, Game 5, everything else doesn't matter.
Exactly.
And what do you guys think of now Dodgers-Cardinals in the NLCS? How many games do you think they're going for, and who's coming out to the World Series?
I'm going to go Cards in 6.
Cards in 6?
I'm liking the Cardinals. They're playing really well. They're playing inspired right now. I mean, the Dodgers are, of course, a tough team. They're one of the best teams in the NL right now. They're very, very hot. But, I mean, home field advantage is nothing to be reckoned with. A lot of people take it for, and, like, I mean, home field advantage is huge in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I like the,
It's all good, Darius.
Okay, moving on to the Red Sox. How do they look? How do we like the Red Sox? How, if they were to play the Tigers or the Athletics, does it matter? Or do you think the Red Sox are going to the World Series?
I think they're going to the World Series regardless, but I think they'll have a better chance if they meet the Athletics.
Yeah. even though they won't meet them, but yeah.
But I think regardless, the Red Sox are the best team in baseball right now, and
You think they're winning it all?
I think they're going to win it all. Third one since 2004. All Red Sox. As a Yankee fan, it hurts. It hurts to say that.
How can you even say that?
I hate them with a passion, but, I mean, you have to look at the facts.
So does that look good now for the front office that they got rid of Terry Francona, brought in a new guy?
Valentine.
You think that this looks
I
good?
mean, they brought in Valentine. He was absolutely terrible last year.
Yep.
Lost his job after 1 year. Players hated him, was terrible in the clubhouse. Brought in John Farrell this year.
Yep.
Turned the team around.
So you think it was a good move for them to get rid of Francona?
I mean, they didn't necessarily get rid of Francona. He didn't really want to be there anymore. It was a tough spot for him.
Yeah.
He left for a year, then decided to come back. I mean, that's always a tough spot for a manager. You have to know when to move on.
Understandable. Alex Rodriguez, court case. Is he coming back? Is he ever going to be back? Or is it just a year? What do you think is going to go on?
A-Rod is going to have a 0-game suspension going into next year, and I'll tell you why.
Tell us.
He has millions upon millions of dollars. 3 elite law firms representing him in this court case against the MLB and Bud Selig. Okay? The entire Major Leagues Baseball organization is looking to get rid of Alex Rodriguez for good. You think all that power, A-Rod has more? But right now it doesn't matter what the MLB wants because this is going to the federal court system. And, I mean, allegedly, according to A-Rod and his lawyers, the MLB decided to buy $150,000 worth of stolen documents, which helped link A-Rod to Biogenesis and Tony Bosch. Allegedly, the MLB intimidated Tony Bosch to try and get him to speak against A-Rod and to give up a lot of information against A-Rod. They basically paid him off, which in America doesn't quite fly, right? Am I right, Darius?
You're right on that one.
Right? So in my mind, the MLB basically, it was a terrible decision to go for 211 games.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
He never came up with a positive test, A-Rod. With all this impermissible evidence against him, they're not going to be able to hold that 211-game ban. Instead, they should have went with 50 or maybe even 100.
So what do you think this is going to say about the major leagues and letting one player kind of dictate when all these other players had to be suspended? There are so many big names out there that could not play this season or will not be playing next season. And what do you think this says for them, for A-Rod getting off the hook then?
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily getting off the hook. It is a little bit, but the players who were suspended were like A-Rod, first-time offenders. The average first-time offense for steroid use, PED use, is 50 games. MLB tried to make a statement, but they tried to make a little bit too loud of a statement.
I mean, they're trying to make a statement because it's just, you don't want to people look up to those guys, and it's a big deal. And I agree completely with them trying to make a statement, but I think also that A-Rod getting off the hook as opposed to other players not, it shows that anyone could fight like A-Rod because he has money.
I mean, we got to remember the OJ case too.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think
money wins court cases sometimes.
Yeah, and I just think that when you're dealing with those big names, those great players, you know what I mean, they tend to want to make an example out of them. You know what I mean? If we're willing to do this to a great player, then we'll do it to anybody. You know.
And also, I think Selig knows that he messed up a little bit. Already announced his resignation. I mean, it was his time regardless of what's going on right now in the MLB. But also, I think he kind of realizes that it's time to go.
Well, good points, guys. But we're going to go to commercial right now. And we will be back, and we will be talking about the NBA and NHL and a little bit of some college football. So we'll be back right after this.
Eric Weinmayer knew the risks. Less than 1,200 people had ever conquered Mount Everest, and more than 175 had died trying. But still he climbed, not seeing the terrifying drops or the fear on other faces. And when he reached the summit, he didn't even see the view, because Eric Weinmayer is blind. He proved it doesn't take sight to reach the top. It takes vision. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com.
And we're back on Sports Take. I'm your host, Ariel Epstein, here with Connor DeKranis and Darius Donaldson. Our technical issues are finally resolved, so this one will definitely go a lot smoother than the first. NBA, Darius, you ready?
I'm always ready.
All right, the big debate. Derrick Rose, what are your opinions on awaiting his return, the projections for this future?
D Rose. I think D Rose, it'll be interesting to see what type of player he's going to be after such an injury that he has. You know what I mean? Anytime you're dealing with the ACLs and MCLs and all that stuff, you tend to come back and you're not the same player. You lose some of that explosiveness, some of that athleticism. But I do think, you know what I mean, judging that he was one of the best point guards in the league, 2010 MVP goes for saying itself. So it's like, I think D Rose will be fine. I think he's what the Bulls need. He inspires that city, and they're ready for him to come back, more than ready.
Connor, what do you think?
I think D Rose is one of the smartest athletes in all of sports, not just the NBA right now. He took 526 days away from the game to try to rehabilitate his torn ACL. A lot of criticism against him, people saying it was too conservative, taking too long. But, I mean, when you're a professional athlete and your whole life revolves around a game, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a race. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. You want to take the time to try to rehabilitate the knee the right way, right? Work on your explosiveness, get that all back. Too many times athletes come back too soon and they're dismal for the rest of their career. So I think D Rose is trying to show that he's not going to be one of those players. And he showed it in the first game. He went right up against the Pacers defense, accelerated to the basket. He took one hard hit, too, from Hibbert, went down, got right back up.
People are probably going to try to go at him a little bit to challenge him.
He looks good, though. He looks quick. I mean, I think once he gets the kinks worked out, because he had like 4 turnovers in his first game back, that's not typical D Rose, but that'll come with being pushed back into the game a little bit.
So another thing they have to work on is just the chemistry with the team. I mean, he's been out for an entire year, so it's like, you know, once he builds that chemistry back with all the other guys, Joe Kim and those guys, they're going to be a good team.
You think that they're excited for him to be back and to take a chance to the win, or do you think that some of those other guys enjoyed not having only him in the limelight?
Well, I know his teammates love him.
Okay.
So, I mean, they're happy to see him back. They know he's a leader.
He's a big part of that team.
They need
He's
him
the heart of the team.
They need him to win.
And now we're moving on to the NHL. Connor, you got this one.
A couple nights ago, the San Jose Sharks took on the Rangers at home, and a 19-year-old from the Czech Republic, Thomas Hertl, showed why he has potential. And this is just potential because, obviously, the start of the season to be the next Wayne Gretzky. He has amazing hands. He's 19 from the Czech Republic. Just signed a 3-year entry-level deal.
Yep.
And I'll set the scene real quick for those of you who may not have seen the game, because I know it's the NHL. Not everybody watches the NHL. The Rangers were down 7-2. Hertl had already scored 3 goals in the game. Okay, he's leading the league right now with 6 goals. 2 more than Alexander Ovechkin. You know, that small-time player from the Capitals. Not too big of a name.
Oh, yeah, no, not at all.
And
who's that guy?
They were up 7-2. Hertl broke down the wing, one-on-one with the keeper. He decided to play the puck between his legs, put his stick between his legs,
That was all over the highlight reels.
and flick the puck top shelf. One of the nastiest goals I've ever seen in
It was
hockey.
dirty. It was so dirty.
One of the nastiest goals I've ever seen. Having said that, there's a lot of debate right now whether or not showboating to that degree should be permissible. He's
Why is
19.
that?
He's 19 years old. He's straight off the boat from the Czech Republic. His girlfriend and his mom were at the game, and he wanted to try to excite the crowd. So I have no problem with it. But some people throughout the NHL, such as Adam Oates from the Washington Capitals, their head coach, says that showboating of that nature is a great way to just get yourself beat up. It's not necessary
Well, if
in
he's
the
asking
NHL.
for it, and the NHL's about, I mean, they do love the fight.
They definitely do. But, I mean, what do you think, Darius? Do you agree? Do you think that it was too far, too much showboating, or do you think it was the right degree?
I don't think it was showboating. I think if you have the ability to do something of that magnitude, I mean, look at us. We're all talking about it. Very rarely do you see a goal in the NHL where it was like, oh, my gosh, it was crazy. Like, that excited me, and I'm not much of a hockey fan. It excited me, and it was great to see. And I don't think it's showboating. If you can do it, do it.
Yeah, I agree completely. I was watching the game live, and when I saw it happen, my jaw was on the ground. I
think everyone's was.
I didn't have words. And the thing is, too, hockey, especially on the West Coast, is slowly elevating in prominence. Okay, with the Kings out there, just won the Cup in 2012, beating my Devils. Very upset still. But the Sharks...
Yeah, everyone should see him in his hat right now.
But the Sharks, they're a young team. They're rising in the Western Conference right now. This kid is going to excite the West Coast.
Yeah.
I think he has potential to do something like what Gretzky did for the Kings. He brought attention to the organization. He brought attention to hockey on the West Coast. So that's, in that respect, I know it's very early, but I can see comparisons to Gretzky.
I mean, sometimes, though, when you see a goal like that, that can excite just about everyone, not just the West Coast. I mean, when I seen it, that can get people excited, you know what I mean, and happy and want to watch hockey more.
Exactly. That's my point exactly.
Speaking of young guys, Jadeveon Clowney, did he go too far? Do you buy his excuse to not play against Kentucky? He showed up to practice, but do you think he'll play? What are your opinions?
I do not have a problem with him sitting this one out. You know what I mean? If you're sore, you're sore. I mean, it's Kentucky for crying out. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and the Gamecocks have shown that they're a presence in the NCAA right now. So
it's just like they can put the scout team out there and probably end up beating Kentucky. So I don't have a problem with this at all.
But do you think that this was a bad decision on his part?
Does it hurt his draft stock or anything like that? I really don't think it does. A team is going to need Clowney. A team is going to want Clowney. A team is going to draft Clowney very high next year.
Yeah, he's going 1 or 2.
I have more of a problem with the NCAA at this point. There's been a lot of discussion recently about whether players should be paid, whether they should have to play 3 years in college in order to be eligible for the NFL draft. And I think at this point the NCAA, has to do one of two things. Big name programs, especially top 25 programs like USC, make millions upon millions of dollars, and the players don't see a cent of that.
Yeah, but they're in college. But I mean,
it's basically a job for them.
But think of how many of them do get tuition, how much of them get money.
But I mean, think of it. They are called student athletes.
Exactly.
Student is first. Your athlete second. It's not a job.
But what about the money that they're bringing in now?
Well, look at Johnny Football, and it becomes a big controversy, and I think that it's been this way for forever. I think that players in college, I don't agree that they should be paid. I think they're in college first, like you said.
Let me see what you guys think about my second option, okay? So besides paying the players, which I know is very tough, it opens Pandora's box because there's so many football programs. You can't limit it to just the top 25 programs because that's not fair. So my second idea would be to drop the college requirement to 1 year like it is for basketball. Okay? Basketball, get out of high school, go to college, play for a year, you're eligible for the draft. Okay? The year doesn't really impede too much. And my thing with football is, I'm not trying to stereotype, but a lot of players come from bad neighborhoods, come from bad areas, and this is their break. Playing football in college for 3 years does not necessarily help them mature.
It might help them mature in the game, but I see what you're saying. I think on the body, it should be a big impact, not as much really for maturing in the game, because you could be Peyton Manning and he'll still tell you he has stuff to learn. You learn something new every week, and these guys come in, they have an awesome senior year, and then they come into the NFL and they struggle a little bit because it's a big jump, it's a big difference, and you can't expect a freshman to come in to college and then play college football as a sophomore at 19, 20 years old. It's tough.
Yeah. I don't think it translates very well. I don't think a player who plays 1 year of college football, and for him, maybe he does excel, maybe he is the best. For him to just jump to the NFL after 1 year, you're just not ready. You're not mentally ready. You're not ready for all that. You're not physically ready. I don't think your body's ready. I mean, you're still a teenager.
Yep.
I mean, I was just throwing the idea out there, but I agree completely with you guys because, I mean, and the NBA is a whole different beast.
Yeah.
With the NFL, you're playing against monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monsters, and it's full contact. So you're right. You need to grow into your body a little bit.
Well, speaking of going to the NFL, I think that there's not that many great games this week, but there definitely are a few that we can talk about. And one game that's definitely the game of the week is the Patriots in New Orleans. They play at 4:25 on Sunday in Gillette Stadium in New England. Who do you guys pick for this game and why, guys?
I'm going to go with Sean Payton, Drew Brees, and the Saints.
What?
They are looking so great right now. Their defense is looking good. With Drew Brees, you can't go wrong. He has so many weapons.
Do you think the Pats are going to lose 2 games in a row?
Yeah,
I do not think. The Pats are going to bounce back, and Tom Brady, we trust. They're in Foxborough. Come on.
Who does he have to throw to? Tompkins?
Has it mattered?
If Gronk even comes back, it's not like he's going to be a big presence.
What do we think about Gronk? What do we think? When is he going to be back?
I don't even care about Gronk.
My thing is, has it mattered thus far?
It really hasn't.
No.
Tom Brady can throw to anyone. He can throw to me and you.
At this point, Gronk is more of a distraction to the organization than he is a help.
Yeah, but if he came back, there's a lot that
he would help with. But I mean, right now he's distracting the whole organization.
Patriots are going to bounce back from last week, and they're going to put the Saints where they need to be with the loss.
We'll see. See what happens.
While we're in that division, Pittsburgh is playing in New York against the Jets. Well, in New Jersey against the Jets. 1:00 Sunday. Do you think this is the Steelers' chance for a win, or do you think that, and they're going to go 0-5, or do you think that the Jets are going to just keep continuing their I wouldn't say dominance, but their winning streak going a little bit? They had a really big win last week. What do you guys think?
Here's the thing. This is going to be a really interesting game.
I agree.
I think the Steelers have a very good chance. Their defense looks really good. Even though they have not forced a turnover yet this season, the defense does look like the defense of yesteryear for the Steelers. The Jets have shown that they can be inconsistent at times. Of course, they're coming off a huge win. They're going to have a lot of momentum going into this week. I think it's almost a toss-up.
I agree. It's definitely going to be a toss-up. I think that Pittsburgh and the way they've looked pretty awful. But they're getting close. They're scratching at the surface. And if they're going to get a win, now is the time versus the New York Jets team who's iffy, like you said, inconsistent.
You go 0-5, you basically can't lose another game until maybe the last game of the season. Last game. This is the last one, guys. You ready? Tonight's game, Thursday Night Football. The Giants are in Chicago. The Giants, were they going to go 0-6? And the Bears, how did they look this season? 8:25, starting right now.
I like the Bears.
The Giants will be going into Week 7 0-6.
Wow. How do you think New York fans will react?
Oh. I know me, as a Jets fan, I'm going to be loving it when they're 0-6. Because, trust me, their last 2 fluky Super Bowl wins, I absolutely...
Fluky?
Fluky.
Okay.
Fluky.
That's another day. We'll talk about that.
Eli Manning has shown that he's a fluky quarterback at best. Not just this season either. You can't even argue that. I'm sorry.
Darius, what do you think before we close it out?
It's going to be a big game.
You think Chicago's going to take it?
I do. Chi-Town.
Chicago.
That's an advantage. I mean, Eli's just turnover prone right now. He's just throwing them left and right. Against that Chicago defense, they're going to get a couple on him.
Yeah, his QBR is like 35 right now.
Yeah, the Giants are going to have to figure something out. But that's all the time we have for tonight, guys. Thank you for joining us here on Sports Take. I'm your host, Ariel Epstein, here with Connor DeKranis and Darius Donaldson. We will see you next Thursday. Thanks, guys, and enjoy the game tonight.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.